Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Oh, look at that. Do you know, it's so awkward. Yeah, no.
I had advantage, I had the right hand advantage.
Yeah, true. Alhamdulillah. How you doing, bro? You good? It's good, man. It's good to hear. Another episode, another day.
Yeah.
Hopefully some gems to give to the people.
Yeah, I like this topic. This one's going to be good.
Inshallah. So today we're going to speak about, money, risk. We're going to be speaking about wealth. And I guess we can just get straight in, to be honest. That's what we do on our channel.
Yeah.
We don't mess around. And I just want to ask a question. Look, is money actually the root of all evil? You know, this is something that we see across social media. This is something that people say all the time. And I think a lot of Muslims feel as though, you know, being a Muslim, you shouldn't be striving towards wealth. You shouldn't look towards money. You shouldn't, you know, even entertain it. But I guess the question is, look, is money and seeking money a bad thing?
Yeah. It's a good place to start. I mean, I think, you know, Islam teaches us, you know, to obviously we need to have our relationship with Allah correct and appropriate. But Allah also mentions, you know, how, you know, don't forget your portion of dunya.
Right.
And that you know, also means, you know, seeking wealth so you can provide for your family, so you can, you know, benefit your community, give charity, and etc.
Yes.
So that's what it means by your portion of the dunya. So in terms of, is money evil within itself, I would say no. However, I do understand the phrase that it could be the root of evil. For example, riba, for example, prostitution, or haram ways of making money, haram ways to distribute wealth, taxes, etc. So there's a lot of issues that come because of wealth.
Right.
But in and of itself, it's not something that's evil. It's just a means of evil.
Right. That makes sense, to be fair. I think a lot of times as well, it's important to, with a lot of things you can say it's evil. It just depends on the person, how they use it.
Yeah.
You know, I think money, when you start to accumulate wealth, it's a reflection on the person as to how they use it, how they engage with it, or even how they look to accumulate it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not right of us to say that people who are wealthy are bad people by default.
Yeah.
Or people who are rich are like, oh, they're definitely evil.
Yeah.
You know, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You know?
I think a lot of people say that, you know, when they see someone who's wealthy, or maybe they say, yeah, but he's probably not, you know, practicing, or he's putting the kafir anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, obviously for the kafir, fair enough. But for a Muslim, it's like, why?
Yeah, it's so true.
Like, that's a blessing of Allah. If he's you know, received that blessing and he's grateful to Allah and he's benefiting the people, then what's wrong with it?
Just say Allah barik and then you just move on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think a lot of times as well, it's so good to have a good thought or a good impression of your Muslim brothers and sisters. A lot of times you think, some people, they see someone driving, let's say, a certain car, or they have a certain house, and they think, I don't care, you know, they must be on a mortgage, or they're doing some riba, they had their car on finance. No, don't think that, you know.
Honestly.
You don't know that. They could have bought it all in cash for, you know, you know, and I hope that is the case, you know. So it's good not to have these negative thoughts, you know. Think positively of your fellow Muslim.
It's true, and the opposite is also true. Someone might see someone who's wealthy and think, Allah must love this person, that he's given him all this wealth and cars, but no, actually not necessarily. You know, maybe Allah gave him no dunya but took away the akhirah from that person. So it's like, yeah, money is definitely not something that we as Muslims give value to in terms of the value of a person or their relationship with Allah.
Yes.
You understand? So, you know, whether you're rich or poor, you can have a good, strong connection with Allah, regardless. And it's just the tests of being poor and being wealthy, it's just different.
Yes.
So either way, you know, it's about fulfilling obligations and, you know, using whatever wealth you have in a correct manner.
That's such a good point. I remember during Ramadan, there was one of the Tarawih, and they were speaking to a few brothers, and they were speaking about how when you live in the West, you know, we have a lot of blessings in that sense compared to other people back home or wherever it may be who might be struggling, you know, might be in poverty or war-torn situations. And I remember the brothers were saying to me, you know, it's interesting how in the West we have a different test, and that test is around, you know, how we're going to make use of the wealth that we have or the money that we have to help others and be charitable in that sense. And for the people who are struggling, maybe who are in the worst sort of poverty, that their test is about being, you know, steadfast and being able to kind of have faith in Allah that, look, you know, you're going to get me through this situation, these bad times. So like you were saying, everyone's test is so different. Don't think because I have money, that this person has money, that their life is very easy. No, it's not the case at all, you know. And someone who's very, very poor, it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, one, they don't have a good connection to their Lord, or Allah hates them, and two, that
they're the super pious person.
Yeah, exactly.
Not necessarily.
We don't know.
Maybe they're just lazy and they don't even bother to seek provision of Allah.
SubhanAllah. Such a good point.
Yeah. Even this thing about, you know, like us and back home.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because we want to make hijrah, right? We want to go back to our countries and etc. And it's funny, sometimes you speak to people back home, you know, and they want to come to the West.
SubhanAllah.
It's like, why is no one happy with where they are? You know, it is. But I think we have more weight.
Yes.
For our reasons. Most of the reasons why people from back home, or let's say our third world countries, want to come to the West is for the wealth, is for the money, is for that
Opportunities.
Yeah, opportunities. Whereas for us, it's like we just want to save our souls. You understand? We've seen the corruption of this earth, of this part of Earth, and we said we have to get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't care what money you can offer me. Like I don't care what opportunities you give me. I need to get out of here. It's just weird though. But it ties back to what you were saying about, you know, seeing whatever situation you're in, seeing the opportunity in it.
Right.
Seeing, okay, how can I get closer to Allah through this?
Yes.
Whether it's I'm getting tested with wealth and opportunity and all this and blessings, or whether it's, you know, maybe you're not as wealthy as someone in the West, for example.
Exactly. I think a lot of people have heard this before, but, you know, the grass is not green on the other side. It's only green on the side that's been watered. So you have to be able to, like, water your side of the grass. That's the only way you're going to have green grass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of times we think, you know, people are doing well, especially when you have social media. It's so easy. You have access to everyone's lives now.
Yeah.
So you see all these guys and these people driving certain cars or have certain homes or go on certain holidays. You think, you know, damn, how did they do it?
You know, nothing. Every single episode, we're going to slander social media.
Yeah, it's actually true, you know?
I don't care. I will.
Yeah.
I actually don't care.
Yeah, 100%.
Just, I don't know why social media has become so normalized in society.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a new thing.
It is.
Maybe the last 20 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, basically the point is, don't look at other people's lives. Yeah. Look at what you have.
Yes.
You know, it links back to, you know, lowering the gaze. Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to me. I'll ask you the question then. Rizq as a concept in Islam.
Yes.
What does it mean? I mean, you can give a loose translation maybe. And we'll go from there. Sure.
So I can't give a verbatim answer or something that I've read straight from the books. But from what my understanding of Rizq, I'll say is to do with any form of goodness and benefit given from Allah. And it can take many forms. It can be financial. It can be, you know, health. It could be shelter. It could be anything like that. It could be children. I know we've spoken about that as well. So when I think of Rizq, I think of like blessings from Allah in that sense.
Provision.
That's a better word. That's a better word. Yeah, provision.
Yeah. So talk to me about, Allah is the one that provides. There's no dispute about that.
Yes.
But how does Allah provide for you? Or what? So speak to me about how Allah provides for you.
Right. In what sense? Because I'm thinking, when you say He provides for me, I know obviously He's a sustainer as well.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, you did. I'm thinking about provision. What do you think?
Basically, the concept of Rizq is that whatever is written for you in terms of provision is going to come to you. You understand? So a lot of people go out their way to make money, and sometimes, you know, they go through means which is haram.
Yes.
They go to in means which was displeasing to Allah. Whereas the concept of Rizq in Islam teaches us that your wealth is written for you. There's a number of amount of money that you're going to make in your life. And the test is, are you going to make this money in a means which is halal or haram?
Yes.
And this is the sort of message I want to come with. It's like, make sure it's halal. You understand? Like, don't think you're going to cheat your rizq by going through other ways and for example, getting involved with riba or selling a haram product that's in demand and etc. Or doing like shady business dealings. You know, you don't cheat your rizq. Never ever. Yeah. It's going to come to you. Maybe it was going to come to you later in your life in a halal manner, but you cheat your way and you get it. You know? Basically, it's just not a smart thing to do.
Right.
And understanding that Allah is the provider, you should understand that it's not you that attains wealth.
Yes.
It's Allah is the one that gives it to you.
SubhanAllah. Such a good point. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, he did make it very clear that, you know, a soul won't die or won't leave this dunya unless it actually accumulates the rizq that Allah has given or said will be destined for him. You know, even if it's just a 1 penny, wherever it is, you won't leave this world until you've accumulated that 1 penny. You know what I mean? So it's important to understand, like you said, don't fall into this trap of, I need to make more, let me do this and do that. You're cheating yourself. There's no point. You know, there's no point to make, you're going to make an extra £500, maybe, you know, maybe investing in things which are haram. Well done. You know, that £500 was actually going to come to you anyway, but you chose the wrong way to get it for yourself.
And now you've earned the anger of Allah. So it's not worth it.
Yes.
Even, exactly. You know, another thing about rizq is that we've actually lost touch of what rizq is. The fact that Allah provides. I feel like in the past, you know, it was easier to see rizq come to you. You know, whether it's someone walking past and giving you a bread. Like, we don't have these situations anymore. Or for example, a farmer who would plant a seed into the soil.
Yes.
And he would make dua to Allah to send down rain.
Yeah.
And who's the one that sends down rain?
Allah.
It's Allah.
Yeah.
So he had to make dua to Allah to send down the provision of rain, so then that seed can grow. And who's the one that gives life to that seed? Allah. So he has to again make dua to Allah that it absorbs the water and it comes to life. Allah's the one that gives life to that seed, and then it grows, and then the sunlight, which is also in the hands of Allah. So you have a much purer understanding of the concept of rizq.
Yes.
And you understand throughout that whole process that Allah is in control of everything. And if He didn't will for you to eat from the tree of that seed, then you wouldn't. Whereas today we're so out of touch, because you might get a salary, you might just be selling a product, and it's like you don't see it. Like, for example, if you're a business owner, every customer that walks through your doors or that purchases through your business is rizq. Allah sent that person to you in ways that you didn't even know. Allah gave them the need of your product. Then they came and gave you that £50.
Yeah.
You understand? But people don't see that. They just see the guy walking and giving money. And then they say, oh, it's because of me. I put a sign in front of my shop that attracted a customer. And what are you talking about?
I run Facebook ads.
Yeah. Which fair play.
Yeah.
Fair play. But again, like you lose touch.
Yes.
Once you understand like everything, even the guidance for you to,
to do those things.
It's like it's all from Allah. This is what I mean. Like, we've lost touch of it.
SubhanAllah.
But every single penny that enters your bank account, it's from Allah.
SubhanAllah.
Every like little food you eat is from Allah. You know, even now, like, you go to a supermarket, you see like the food is coming from the other side of the world. How did that? You understand?
Yeah.
Allah raised that crop from the other side of the world, transported it all over the world for it to enter your belly.
Yes.
SubhanAllah.
It's such a good point, and you said exactly what I was going to talk about, the supermarket. Some people don't even, some children, they think that fruits come from the supermarket. You go to Tesco and everything's there. Yeah. It's the farmers are in Tesco.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so crazy how we're so out of touch with it. It's so intangible. I feel like, and I think it's because as human beings, we have advanced over the years, in terms of technology and in terms of maybe medicine and all these things. And like you were saying, back in the day, maybe if someone fell sick, the only thing they could do was rely on Allah. But the same is still true now, but we have all these different things that Allah has blessed us with, such as technology, such as medicine, where we have different solutions to different things now. But we think that, oh no, it was antibiotics that cured me. No, it was Allah who allowed that to even be a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's so important, like you said, not to lose touch of, who's the real person sustaining you, who's providing for you. SubhanAllah.
Who's in control?
Who's in control? It's such a good point. Such a good point. I never thought about that actually. It's true. We are losing touch of that.
Yeah, even like meat.
Yes.
People don't realize that an animal was slaughtered.
Yes.
Like just.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even like actually appreciate that, the fact that a living animal
died,
was slaughtered for you to enjoy this meal.
Yeah.
They just see the meat with like a sauce and stuff. They don't actually see that this was once a live being. People are so out of touch with reality.
So ungrateful.
And it's something so basic. You'd think everyone thinks it. But then I have conversations with people, and people don't really appreciate it. I remember having a discussion with a non-Muslim about halal meat. And I was saying, and I made this point about it being slaughtered in a merciful manner. And for the guy, he didn't think he's like 20-something years old. Not once did he ever think how this animal was slaughtered.
Yeah.
Like, he's eating all this meat from his local Tesco's that's not halal.
Yes.
That was beaten and abused before it was killed.
Battery farm.
And then I mentioned that, you know what? Don't you think that this animal deserves a proper way to die, a merciful way to die? Then he really thought about it, and I was like, like, people actually don't know the way, like, like, this animal was slaughtered in a merciful manner for you to eat. So
such a good point. That's so crazy. I never really thought about that as well, because even talking about the animal as well, like, that animal lived a life. It was raised. It was a calf, and then it became a cow, and all these different things. And then you really start to think, wow, some people are still ungrateful. They complain about everything. But in the way, for you to even have this meal that you're eating in front of you, you might not even be enjoying it. That's why it's so important for us. We say Bismillah before we start. We say Alhamdulillah when we finish. Because, it's a blessing. This meat, this sustenance right here is such a blessing for you.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah.
You know what's a form of rizq that I think is so underrated?
Talk to me.
Rain.
Yes.
You don't think about rain. But you do realize that every single fruit, every single vegetable, even the meat that you eat, came from rain.
Yeah.
And Allah is the one who sends down rain. You hear the ayat in the Quran about rain.
Yeah.
You hear about making dua during rain.
Yeah.
Like, all these things. You never think twice about rain. I remember, like, rain is sometimes a burden, subhanAllah.
Yeah.
If you want to run away. But actually, rain is a form of rizq.
Yeah.
It's what brings life to the ground. From a dead land, just soil, comes trees and fruits and life and all these different things. And then your cattle would go and eat from that, and then they'll get fatter, so you can, like, subhanAllah. And it's all from what? Water from the sky.
People used to pray for rain.
Yeah.
In certain places they pray for rain. When you have, like, what's the word? Not famine. what's the word for when there's like just no drought? That's it. You know, you have droughts, which then could lead to famine.
Yeah.
You know,
and people die
because you know?
Allah doesn't send them rain.
Food, there's no food. Cattle, all your animals have died. The plants, the crops, all gone. SubhanAllah, it's such a good point because, like you said, a lot of times you see a little bit of rain, you think to yourself, "Oh, I'm gonna get wet."
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that I never thought about when it comes to like, you know, that's probably one of the reasons why it's good to make du'a during the rain.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a time of ni'mah.
Yeah.
It's a time of blessing.
SubhanAllah.
So yeah.
SubhanAllah. That's such a good point.
Another thing I heard this in a lecture the other day, where they were speaking about keeping money in your hand and not in your heart. So we can speak a bit about that.
Yeah.
You know, like for example, so we've made the point that, you know, we should seek
Provision. Yeah.
In a halal way.
Yes.
And once you've got it, it's important to not let it into your heart, especially as a Muslim. I'll ask you a question.
Yep.
As a Muslim, do you think it's okay to buy a 200 grand car?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So is that not money entering his heart?
No, not really, no. I wouldn't say so, no.
Or what if I said to you, I had better ways to spend that money?
Then yeah, then it's different. Like I'll give you, the reason why I say it doesn't enter the heart is because it depends. Let's say you are someone, I was talking about a Muslim who's very rich.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
he's buying a 200 grand car.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Like, I just want to hear your thoughts on it.
I think for me, it's not an issue. I don't think what you're buying per se is a reflection if it actually has entered your heart or not. I think it depends on the other things. So, for instance, that person is spending all of his money on these materialistic things, but then he doesn't, you know, for instance, he said he doesn't want to do Hajj. He doesn't pay for himself to go and do Hajj. Or, for instance, he doesn't give zakat or sadaqah.
Yeah.
Zakat, actually, I would even go as far as say, if he's not even giving sadaqah, I would say there's an issue there. In the sense that if you're someone who's making abundance of money, I would urge you, I'd say, to want to go and do sadaqah. Do something that's a little bit more of a, you know, sunnah. Go above and beyond. Do voluntary stuff. Yeah. I think that's when I'll start to say, maybe it hasn't.
That's true. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. What are you
I don't
say?
think there's necessarily anything wrong with buying a 200 grand car if you've got the money.
Yeah.
Because, like, as a Muslim, you're allowed. There's nothing that says it's haram.
Yes.
You understand? However...
Talk to me, yeah. This is why I'm interested.
You know, this car, like, for example, someone can say, yeah, I bought a car, and they're humble, and they say, I carry my money in my hand or not my heart. Right. However, when money is in your hand, it's closer to your heart than if you didn't have it.
Right.
You understand? So when you do have money, you get tested harder. The test becomes harder. So if you do buy this 200 grand car, you don't have to deal with issues of being humble. You understand? Of making sure you're still, you know, doing other obligations and etc. Whereas if you didn't have money or you didn't buy that car, then there's no chance of it getting to your heart. Like, for example, that guy pulling up to the masjid with a 200 grand car, he's going to feel a certain way. He's going to get certain looks. And it can enter his heart now. You understand? He might feel pride because you got a car. No one cares. Yeah. Whereas if you just roll up with a little Corsa, it's like, who's going to say what?
Yeah.
Understand? There's no way of it entering your heart. There's no way of pride entering your heart or greed or all these feelings.
I see.
So even though in Islam you're allowed to buy the car, I think it's better not to.
Okay.
Not to. Because now you're throwing yourself in fire. Like, not in the fire, I would say, but in the sights of other issues.
Okay. The thing I would say to that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know, because then there's that contradict what we were saying in the beginning where we were saying, look, there's nothing wrong with striving for money and looking to kind of, you know, buy, we're not saying it's haram to buy a car or buy a nice house, but what if someone says to you, look, that's not an issue for me. You know, I don't drive my 200,000 car to the masjid. Yeah. You know, it's fine. Yeah, I don't feel that pride. You know, I don't.
Then it's fine. It's permissible.
Right.
It's just they're putting themselves at risk.
I see.
And there's not an issue with them making that much money. That's not the issue.
Oh, okay,
the issue is them spending it on a car. 200 grand on a car. That's serious wealth.
Do you know it's difficult because, like, let's say someone who's like wealthy and they're giving sadaqah, they're doing all these zakat. As Muslims, we know that we shouldn't be outwardly when it comes to our charity. You know, we kind of keep it close to our heart. I think there's even a hadith around how on the Day of Judgment, it's, you know, the person who's charitable with their right hand and left hand won't even know of the charity that they're given, meaning that they're so secretive of their charity, not even their limbs know about the charity that they're given.
The left hand wouldn't know about the right hand.
The right hand, that's it, perfect, thank you. So what I'm trying to get across here is, like, doesn't that mean we're always at a disadvantage? Because no one will ever see some of the good that we do, but all they always see is, oh cool, Taj drives a 200,000 pound car, for instance. You know, I feel like it's a little bit not unfair, but it's like a losing battle. Doesn't matter what you do. Let's say they buy a nice house that's not too expensive, but within their means, and they buy a decent car. Someone will always have an issue.
Everyone will always have an issue.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny. Like, let's say you know I'm wealthy.
Yes.
and I buy like a cheap car, you would come and say, "Wow, you have money. Why are you not buying a nice car?"
Yeah.
So, or not maybe you, but people would say. Whereas if I'm wealthy and I buy a nice car, expensive car, people will come to me and say, "Oh, why are you showing off? Car?
Yeah.
Why are you showing off? This that." The point is, you can never please people. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like either way, like yeah, basically you can never please people.
But I guess, and it goes back to your point, because your point was saying to people, look, it's not that the focus isn't just about the people; it's about protecting yourself from the potential of pride and things like that entering your heart.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily about, I actually agree with what you're saying now a lot more, because you're not saying, we're not saying to people, oh, don't buy the £200,000 car because people are going to think X, Y, and Z. But we're trying to be very, very cautious of, how this can affect your heart. How can it start playing with you? So it's an internal battle. It's between you and Allah.
I'm just saying, can you compare the effect that a 200 grand car is going to have to your heart compared to a 5 grand car? No, you can't compare it. You understand?
Yes, I see.
Whether you like it or not, when you drive that car around, you're going to feel a certain way.
Right.
Yes, you'll be humble. No issue. There's no issues with that.
Yeah,
it's just the point I was making.
It opens you up for stuff.
The point I was making is that when you do live that life of sort of luxury and you start dabbling in that area, that's when you're basically you're more at risk of being tested with wealth than someone who miskin doesn't have money, nice basic car.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
He will never feel pride. How would you feel pride over
It's a good point. It's a good point.
That's what it is.
It's a good point. Okay, that's interesting
but the issue is not the fact that he's rich.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So he could be rich but not buy the car. He could still buy a 2 grand car.
Yeah.
And he will never have that issue. That's what I was trying to say.
So materialism and stuff like that.
It's just something to think about. Not that it's haram or whatever.
Yes.
It's more so like that person themselves will make that decision. Nothing wrong with it. If he buys it, am I going to say to him, "Oh, it's better for you"? No. If he wants to drive it, no problem.
That's a good point as well. Like, I think even like going over the top and living within your means, and also like not falling into the trap of like abundance, where you start like, let's say you are someone you're making good money, and what we're trying to say, we're trying to protect people from this, because it can kind of be devastating for even someone who doesn't have extreme wealth but still quite decent. You start feeling as if you need to buy all these expensive things, when in reality you don't need these materialistic things. So if you are someone who's making what 3, 4, 5, let's say £3 grand a month, and you're trying to pay for a car that's like £2,000 every month on finance, which is already wrong anyway, but you're trying to do all these things, which is haram, one, but also you're trying to live above your means. It's so important not to fall into the trap of materialism, because it's a very slippery slope. Exactly. Very slippery. A lot of times people fall into it and they start thinking they need to engage in everything. They have to have everything to show to people, oh, I'm status, I have a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like when you see people. Yeah, it's just luxury.
Yeah.
It's like when you see people buy luxury watches and stuff like that. It's like it's like if you've got the money, fine.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the money and you do it, that's when it becomes a problem. Or wearing designer. I was always anti-designer.
Yes.
It's never made sense to me.
Never made sense.
The same shirt quality is like £50.
Yeah.
But you're spending £800. It doesn't make sense. It's just.
I think a lot of people our age maybe, and I think a lot of people nowadays seem to lose the value of money in itself. Like we kind of underplay it. One, how hard it is to get, and two, what should we actually be using it for? I think a lot of times when you think about it, people think, oh yeah, money just falls off the trees. It's an old saying that maybe our parents used to say to us, but don't undervalue it. Money is something that you should think a lot about what you're going to use it for. Use it for good. It's like you said, it's a blessing from Allah. Allah's giving you the opportunity to have money. Now it's up to you to decide, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to give a little bit of sadaqah? Are you going to give zakat? Are you going to do these things? Are you going to try to help your family, help your brother? Or are you going to spend it to buy a nice watch because you want to show off to everyone?
Yeah.
You have to really think about it.
Yeah, and those are actually some benefits of seeking actual provision. It's the fact that you can take care of your family. It's the fact that then you contribute to your society. And if you do it all for the sake of Allah, then you get rewarded for seeking that provision in the first place. Yeah. So,
especially as men, I would say, look, we know our right. It's a right that women have over us, our wives have over us when it comes to provision, financial provision. So, of course, you need to strive to ensure that you can provide for your family financially. The food can be paid for, shelter, water, all these things can be paid for. So, I would definitely say to men, you have to have this desire a little bit to want to, accumulate wealth so that you can take care of your family and uphold your responsibility as a man. Yeah. I think that's very
important as well to understand that you have to seek it. It's not as simple as asking dua for rizq, asking Allah for rizq, or just making dua to Allah for rizq. It's like, no, you have to seek it. You know, even in the Quran, Allah mentions, you know, so like after the Jummah prayer, to go out and walk this land, and traverse the land and seek your provision from Allah. You know, this is a command from Allah. It's telling you to go out and seek your provision. It's not saying, stay in the masjid all day and make dua and just hope money enters your bank. No, you have to go out and seek it. And that applies to dua in general anyway. You don't make dua, you tie your camel. You understand? You know, it's even interesting. I was thinking about this the other day. You know, even Musa alayhi salam, you know, when he made dua to Allah to save him from the army of Fir'aun.
Yes.
What did Allah do? He didn't just split the sea for him. He actually told him, no, strike your stuff to the sea and then put your trust in me.
Yes.
So he had to still come with an action.
Yes.
Allah could have just split the sea for him, but he didn't. He said, come with an action, even if it's absurd.
Yes.
How is striking the sea going to split it? But he said, put your trust in me. So Musa alayhi salam, he still required action from him. And he done the action. He had tawakkul. He made dua, and Allah granted it for him.
Yes.
So every dua comes with action, and the concept of risk comes with that as well. So you don't just sit and make dua. You don't just sit and wait. Yeah, my risk is written for me. It's going to come to me anyway. No, it's not like that.
It's not like that at all.
Seek it in a halal means after your prayers, as mentioned in the Quran.
Yes, subhanallah. Such a good point, a good quote as well, a good reference to the Quran and Musa. So now that let's say someone is listening to this and they're thinking, okay, cool, fair, you're speaking about seeking it. How do we go about seeking it then? Because a lot of times now there's a lot of different ways that, you know, young people are hearing about making money. You know, we live in a time where, you know, online business, e-commerce is something that's rampant.
Information in general.
Information's everywhere.
Out of control.
Yeah.
Everyone's discovered the way to make money fast. And there's so many ways.
Yeah.
And I think they're all legit. It's not like they're all scams. I think people fall into this trap of thinking they're scams.
Yeah.
It's not. As long as it's halal, then they're fine.
Yes.
In terms of seeking wealth,
yes,
I'm gonna let you have this one. You're the finest. I can't lie. I'm the scheme.
Depends on the day. Depends on how I'm feeling. Okay, well, let's start with.
Okay, let's start like this.
Yeah.
Let's assume a 16-year-old kid. He just 16. Came out of college, uni, or whatever.
Yes.
Or uni would be a bit older.
Yeah.
But they need money.
They need money.
They're like, you know what, Taj, I'm trying to get married. You know, I've come to that age, but I don't have money.
Yes, subhanallah.
Like, so this is a bit of a dunya related question. Yeah. How do you seek it? What ways do you go about it?
I think the first thing is look, you have to get a job. It's the harsh reality, but I would say it's simple. You have to get a job, and don't worry, hopefully we'll get into some more technical stuff. But the first thing I would say to that person, look, go and get a job. And this is another thing of this age, this era, is, you know, you have a lot of ego where you feel as though you start to shun certain jobs. Oh, I can never do this, you know, no chance. But nah, don't have this ego, don't have this shame in regards to, so long as it's halal income, so long as that money's coming from a halal means, then it's fine. Wherever it is, it could be cleaning, it could be anything. I don't care what it is. Working in retail, it could be anything. So long as you're making some income, because that's the start of what you have to do. And, you know, I would even say to them, look, if you have time, and especially at that age, if let's say you're not going to university or you just come out of college, and for us in the UK, college, you finish around 16. No, you finish around 18. And what I would say to them is, look, why not get a second job? Why not get 2 jobs? If you have the time, increase your wealth by actually working 2 jobs, maybe a full-time and a part-time. Yeah. You know, and you can build up, and then we can get in some of the other details. But that's the first thing I would say. Yeah. You know?
Basically, yeah, I agree with you. Mm-hmm. However, what if someone says, yeah, but you're basically asking me to chase the dunya. If I'm working 2 jobs, I'm just making money. What about time for my deen? What about et cetera, et cetera? Yeah. I think the way we'll find the balance or the middle path is, if you have nothing else to do with your time, you understand? You're still praying, obviously. Yeah, of course. Et but I want people to understand, especially like any young listeners, is that you have to benefit from every single hour of your day. You understand? I don't want you to work a 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and then go home and just chill and do nothing. And go on TikTok and play games. No, that's not what it's about. Yeah. It's like, yes, that's why I agree with you. It's like, instead of doing that, get a second job. What else are you doing? You're young, you're fit, you've got the health for it. Yeah. Now is the time to actually start building, saving. You've got nikah coming up. You've got
I was about to say that.
All that sort of stuff coming up. Like, this is your time. You're not going to have this time later on. Or if someone, for example, is seeking knowledge or something like that, then then
it's a different case.
You can make,
But I was even going to say as well, like, if your intentions are in the right place, then you doing that second job is you receiving some good deeds. Yeah. If you're saying that you're trying to save and put yourself in a better place financially so that you can provide for a sister, for your wife to be, then your intentions are pure and Allah will bless you in that sense. So, you know, I think don't look at it as if, you know, when we say chasing the dunya, it's quite interesting when we say this, because for me, I look at it as someone who has no desire for the akhirah, one, and is not working towards the akhirah, and also someone who Yeah, I'll say actually no. Those are the two I'd say because I think if you are someone who's working towards finances and stuff like that, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just depends on if you're forgoing all the other obligations to Allah. That's when it becomes an issue. But if not, and you're able to find some form of a balance, you're able to read your Quran, you're able to do your salah and all these different things, then I would say it's not an issue.
I think one thing as well one thing that I've learned myself, and it's important to stress, this concept of 9 to 5 versus entrepreneurship. I think a lot of young people, they see they see these finance gurus and stuff like that promoting this entrepreneurship lifestyle, which is great.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, I do think it's better than a 9 to 5. I do think that. Okay. However, when you're starting out, there's nothing wrong with starting out with a job, because especially depending on what the job is, but you learn skills, you learn life experience and things like that. A lot of people just want to jump and be a CEO of $1 million company. You're not fit for that. You're 16. You don't even know what profit is. You don't even know what gross income is, and you want to you understand. You don't know one plus one, and you want to be CEO of this company and move to Dubai and get tax-free income. Yeah. You're not ready for that. You understand? Go clean some toilets. Understand? Go be an apprentice for 4 years or whatever. And the thing is, sometimes you do see young people have amazing success with their own entrepreneur,
100%,
which is fine.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, there's nothing wrong with starting off humble, starting off and building your foundations in terms of getting a bit of money, then understanding. Okay, let me save some money. Let me invest some money. Okay, I learned this at work today. I learned that. Especially being an apprentice to someone, I've benefited a lot from this. Ever since I've started working, I've always had basically my manager was basically my mentor. Yes. Even to this day, I don't work with him and he's my mentor.
Yes.
Just having someone to lean on, to kind of guide you through that process of seeking wealth, whether it's through promotions in that workplace, whether it's through other means. Having a mentor is a very, very good idea.
One thing I would say as well, just to go back to what you're saying in the beginning, a lot of people, a lot of young people, I actually would argue that they don't want to be entrepreneurs. I think they want the lifestyle of an entrepreneur and this kind of idealistic lifestyle of what entrepreneur is. Because what you see on social media is actually not what entrepreneurship is. It's not, you're on a beach on your laptop, you're making money, you're sleeping, money's, and parts of that are true. But to be quite honest with you, being an entrepreneur is hard. I want you to really understand what that really means. Look, when you work a 9 to 5 or when you work a job, and you don't know how to do something, you go to your boss and then they go to their boss, and then there's a chain of people that you can ask help from. When you're an entrepreneur and you're working as, let's say you're a sole trader and you're by yourself, if there's a problem, it's only you. Unless you got, some form of mentors, and maybe that could help. But for the most part, you're the one taking all the risk. You're the one putting down your money. So if things don't go right, and let's not forget that most businesses do tend to fail anyway, you have to be able to bear that weight, So it's not about the fast cars, the lifestyle, traveling, you might get to that point, and I'm not saying that some entrepreneurs don't have that lifestyle, but that's not the full picture. It really isn't.
Even they think that as an entrepreneur, you have more time.
Subhanallah.
Which is a lie.
Wow.
If once you start getting into entrepreneurship, you realize whoa, you know what? 9 to 5 was actually easier.
Oh, 100%.
Much easier.
100%.
So, yeah. But I do think as Muslims, I do like that idea of being pushed towards entrepreneurship. Okay. I do like it. Not that Muslims shouldn't work 9 to 5, because there's nothing wrong with it. But I just feel as long as, even within a 9 to 5, as long as you're progressing, you understand? I don't like seeing Muslims not doing well. You understand? Even in terms of dunya. Because if we all are successful and do well and get high positions in dunya, basically, you can actually benefit and make a change.
That's such a good point, isn't it?
So, it's we have to strive. We have to have ihsan in even our work and even when it comes to seeking provision.
Yeah, I think it's also important that you have a right attitude to every aspect of your life. If it comes to your deen, be someone who's hungry to be the best possible Muslim you can be. And that attitude naturally bleeds into other aspects of your life, where it may be your career, entrepreneurship, your family, your spouse, whatever. But I think it's not something that you turn on and off. And I think you have to have this hunger, this desire to be good and the best possible version of yourself in every aspect of your life. I think that's so important.
Yeah, I think that's the beautiful thing about the religion of Islam. It's it gives you that discipline. It teaches you all the characteristics you need to be successful in the dunya.
Yes.
That's why, it's so funny. If you see someone chase the dunya, they definitely don't have the akhirah.
Yes.
But you see someone chase the akhirah and they're given the dunya as well.
Yes.
You understand? So always chase the akhirah. Whether you get the dunya or not, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
But the point is, if you chase this dunya, then you've lost already.
Yes.
So, what was the point you just made?
I was talking about like just having the right mindset towards.
Yes. So Islam gives you like those attributes and traits that you need. Like I think the number one attribute that you need is accountability.
Yes.
So powerful. You know, Allah mentions that, you know, when you do wrong, you have to acknowledge your sin. You have to repent for your sin. You have to not do it again and become better.
Yes.
And this, like you mentioned, bleeds into other areas of your life.
Yes.
Whether it's fitness and you realize, okay, or whether it's a sport or work or relationships. You know, for you to say, you know what, the way I dealt with this person was wrong. I take accountability.
SubhanAllah.
Or discipline.
Yes.
You know, your salah and staying steadfast and staying away from things. It's like that again. You carry that discipline to the work.
Yes.
Or to your fitness routine or whatever. So SubhanAllah.
Such a good point. I think going back to the whole 9 to 5 thing, I think a lot of times it does get a bad reputation, and I think a lot of that comes down to people of the past maybe who were, you know, stuck in one job that they didn't like, stuck in not progressing, not getting promotions and things like that. So I think I wouldn't shy away from a 9 to 5. I think it does have its benefits, such as like, for instance, you know, when you work a 9 to 5, especially in the corporate world, you get certain perks, you know, that you might not get if you're an entrepreneur. You know, they might not be lavish, I would say, but it still holds some weight. You talk about stuff like private healthcare, dental care. You're talking about, you know, gym reimbursements and all kind of company cards, company phones, whatever it may be. You know, so I think if you're striving and you're looking to get to those I think called the C-suite, so the CEO, CIO, you know, CFO, all these different positions, you know, there's a lot of money that could be there, you know, and a lot of status. And like you said, you can impact and make good change around the business, around the world. And I think it's very important not to lose track of that, and don't fall for the illusion of like, or if it's entrepreneurship or nothing else.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I hate. I hate this attitude where, especially like you see these people trying to sell their courses.
Yeah,
you understand? It's like, and they're trying to make you feel bad about working a 9 to 5. It's like, what are you talking about? You understand? Like, it's like, if this is the thing, if you're earning a halal income in a halal means, then don't let anyone ever shame you.
SubhanAllah.
You understand?
Such a good point.
Like, and this is the thing, that's the issue I have with entrepreneurship. Other than that, like I said, I would actually push Muslims to entrepreneurship. I'd recommend it, but there's nothing wrong with 9 to 5. I'd recommend 9 to 5 as well.
I remember I saw one video. You saw those YouTube ads that you get, and it's normally the courses. One guy said to me, look at yourself in the mirror. Why would your wife be happy if you're working 9 to 5?
No way.
I was like, you know, it was probably the longest ad that I've watched. Normally you just skip.
Yeah.
But it was funny. I started laughing.
He hooked you in.
Yeah, I was like, you know what, fair play, you have me. But it was funny. It was so funny. But yeah, honestly, don't feel away. As long as you're making money to sustain your family and sustain yourself, that should be the bare minimum. Of course, I want my Muslim brothers and sisters to strive and be better than just surviving. But look, we have to count our blessings. It's not easy. I think a lot of people think that, you know, you look at this extreme of entrepreneurship and this lifestyle that some of them have, and you think that anything else below that baseline, that threshold, is not good enough. That's not true. Like there's a lot of gap in between it. People think that, if you work a 9 to 5, well, not 9 to 5, but whatever job that's not entrepreneurship, you know, you can't travel the world. You're ridden for the UK or wherever you live. You can't travel. God forbid, you can't, you know, rent. You can't do any of these things. But no, that's not the case. Like, you know, of course, I want you to have a lot and, you know, be bountiful in this dunya, but like, it's not a necessity.
There has to be a balance. Yeah. Like, you know, sometimes you hear like people saying, yeah, but the companions of the Prophet were all like they were entrepreneurs as well,
yes,
etc. Yeah, but some also worked for other people as well. Like, why are we ignoring some of it? We're picking and choosing what we want from the seerah. No, that's not how it works. So it's important to mention that yes, both are fine.
Yes,
both work. You understand? As long as it's halal, whatever suits your lifestyle best. Your sort of, even like just your character. Like some people are suited more for entrepreneurship. Some people are amazing workers. They're just amazing. They just thrive under someone else's leadership. And there's nothing wrong with that. You understand? Play to your strengths. You might make more money working for someone else with their salary they're gonna pay you than if you was trying to start your business and you just can't do it. You just don't have that. So yeah,
plus, I think that's such a good point. You know, entrepreneurship does take a certain ilk of person. Are you someone who's risk averse, or do you run towards risk, or do you run away from it? You know, because entrepreneurship involves a lot of risk. People, if you really break down what entrepreneurship is, and like you look at some of the business decisions some of these very successful people have made, you think, that's kind of stupid. Like, no way, why did you make that such a big risk? But it's they get a buzz off of that. They feel confident in themselves and they take that risk. You know, some people just don't like that, which is fine. You know, and I think, like you said, around, you know, different characteristics, another thing I would add to that is like, you know, it's just funny to me, this whole 9 to 5 thing, because when you are working in 9 to 5, there is a lot of scope for scalability. Like when it comes to really pushing on, I think a lot of people feel as though like when you work a 9 to 5, it's like you wait until the next year to get a promotion or a salary increase or whatever it may be. But it really does depend on your mindset, you know, because I know, especially now in our era, a lot of people do a lot of job hopping. You know, so, and I think the stats is that, you know, if you do jump from one job to another, you can earn between 10 to 20% more than what you're currently earning, something like that. So there is potential for you, if you wanted to go about it that way, to increase your wealth over a 10-year period. You can increase your wealth by 100% or more. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's not shy away from this. It's a possibility. But that's something I would say.
Yeah. And there's, I feel like entrepreneurship has this culture of hard work attached to it. And like, I don't see why a 9 to 5 job doesn't. Like,
there's a grind.
There's a grind there as well, especially when it comes to promotions. Like, anyway, I was going to give my own example.
Okay, but one thing I think we should speak about as well is having the balance of both. Because, you know, it's not as binary as people make it seem. It's like it's like 9 to 5 and nothing else. Entrepreneurship, nothing else. You know what I mean? Like, if you are someone working 9 to 5 and you are someone who doesn't want to be completely into the entrepreneurship lifestyle, which is fine, you know, you can dip your toe. You can do other things to increase your streams of income. And it doesn't actually have to be entrepreneurship. It could even be something as, maybe you want to invest in property, maybe you want to invest in the stock market, sell stuff online, e-commerce, I guess, as business. But you don't have to be completely an entrepreneur. You know?
That's very true. That's what most people do anyway.
Yes.
It's like they would work a full time, they would start a side hustle. Then as the side hustle makes more money, they can maybe drop their hours and etc. Or I saw another model where like someone would work like 6 months flat,
right?
Then just take time off work, and then basically with that 6 months they've saved up, they just throw themselves at entrepreneurship.
Really,
which I like.
I like
that. It's just whatever works for you.
Yeah.
You understand? I think our main message coming from this is whatever it is you're doing, do your best. Like, actually make effort to take the next steps. So if you're working at 9 to 5, look for promotions, look for raises, and look for maybe side hustles, maybe some entrepreneurship. If you're an entrepreneur and you're not making money and you're just you're a bit lazy, then maybe get a 9 to 5 job and still try it. You understand? Don't have this thing, can't do 9 to 5. What am I? No,
it's disgusting.
Go get your money. Because instead of earning whatever you're earning for your thing, maybe like £500 a month, you can earn a decent salary. And that income, you know, you can make news with it.
And another thing I say as well is like, you know, be grateful and not always looking at other people thinking that, let's say you are working 9 to 5 and you're seeing some people who have an entrepreneurial lifestyle, whatever it may be. Don't underplay the blessing that you have of even having a job. You know, that's not something that comes easy to people. You know, there's so many people in this economy right now who don't have a job, they've been fired. So the fact that you even have a job, say alhamdulillah, because I'm telling you, it can go very, very quickly. So, and same thing for entrepreneurs. Like, don't think because now you had a good year that next year is guaranteed as well. You know, Allah can take that away from you very, very quickly. Actually, another point as well, and you mentioned it earlier about how, like, back in the day, you know, they could see their risk coming through the door, in a sense, like the employee. I think that's one thing I would say that's nice about entrepreneurship, especially if you're selling a product, is that you can actually see, you're a little bit more, let's say, in tune with how the transaction, the relationship between the risk and us, as you know, from between Allah and yourself, in that sense that you kind of see, you know, one person coming to your store, or one person buying a thobe from you, or whatever it may be. You know, I think that's a nice element of entrepreneurship, maybe compared to 9 to 5, depending on what you do.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. But then again, you have commission-based 9 to 5s.
It's a very good point. Yes, if you're a salesperson, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting that you make that point, because it's more so with entrepreneurship.
Yes, yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, subhanallah.
What about managing money as a Muslim? So dealing with, okay, you're making money, you've got a halal job, or you've got a halal like business venture, whatever it is, you're making money now. How do you manage that money in terms of, for example, spending, saving, charity, investing, everything?
It's good. Yeah, I think it's a good thing we can speak about here, because I think a lot of people scoff at the idea of like budgeting your money. It's not really an exciting topic. People want to hear about the more investing, you know,
like some what's it called?
Cryptocurrency or something.
What's like the I don't want to say it has a swear.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Well, cryptocurrency.
Yeah. What they say, what they call cryptocurrencies that are like dead.
Yeah. No, I don't. I actually don't. I was thinking about it that way. And it has a server in it.
Yeah. I'll tell you.
Okay, cool. I'm excited.
But basically, we weren't mad off topic.
Yeah.
I was
just saying how budgeting.
It's
it's something serious. Yeah.
As you know, getting a 20x on a crypto.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still something that's very, very important.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's low hanging fruit for a lot of Muslims in the sense that it could be the difference that could really change your life in a way and make things a little bit better for you on a month by month basis or even a year by year basis as well. So I think to start off, I would say, look, now that you're earning halal income, I think the first thing you need to be looking to do is figure out with how you're actually going to track your money. You know, and for some people it's different. Some people like to write on pen and paper. Some people like just on their phone, they write some notes. Some people, you know, the one I recommend is probably an Excel spreadsheet. You know, you can go in Excel, you can get some nice templates.
Silence your phone.
Yeah, I know, right? You can get some nice templates and then you could easily manage your money. And I think the biggest benefit is, you know, being able to see where your money is going. Some people, they spend like £500, £600 just on takeaway and you're only making X amount of money. And you start to realize, wait, okay, maybe I can cut back. Maybe I can spend money a little bit more wisely. Or if you have subscriptions here and you're watching this and you're watching that, maybe you can start to think, let me reel it in a little bit. So, and I always say that money saves that money earned, in the sense that you might save yourself £500. It's the same as making £500, if that makes sense. I know you don't like that. This guy doesn't like it. He's probably thinking, I don't know about this one.
You read my mind so quick, bro. Like, this guy just read my question. Nah, I disagree.
Go on, talk to me.
I don't know, like this thing of saving. I'm just gonna bounce back on you.
Yeah, go for it.
Something to think about. I believe in saving. It's not that, but this concept of I earned because I saved, or like I didn't lose the money, therefore I earned that. Like I'm against that.
Right, go on.
Because I don't believe you make money by saving money, or you don't become wealthy by saving money. I do believe that if you're gonna have money, you have to make more money.
Yes, I agree.
So to a certain point, like cutting back is good, but to what extent?
Yes.
You understand? Like, and yes, like if you have extras that you're spending on, like takeout when you don't need to, fine. But it's like, how much are you going to cut back, and what difference is it going to really make if you're only earning a certain amount of money a month, which you know is like kind of low income?
Yeah.
It's like, and I have a problem with people putting too much energy on saving, rather than looking at ways to make more money.
Yeah, I agree. Do you know I actually agree with you.
I know you.
The if I would say, and the analogy I would give is like, it's trying to fill up a bucket with a hole at the bottom. So it's like, if you're always trying to, you're trying to get all this money and get that money in, but if there's leaks, it's almost futile in a sense. So I think there's a balance here. I think there's a middle ground between both of us in the sense that, look, I want you to actually, I think there'll be I think you seeking out more money, more income will move the dial probably a lot more than you not saving, but let's say budgeting and trying to figure everything out. But I think there definitely has to be a balance. Last thing you want to be doing is, looking for all this wealth and then it's just leaking out into things that could be, you could use that money for smarter things.
That's true.
That's something I would say.
And spendings can get out of control really quickly, especially as your income increases. This is something I thought about as well. Like, as my income has increased, I've managed it well.
Yes.
Like, I didn't increase my spending too crazy.
Lifestyle.
Obviously, your lifestyle improves a little bit. Yeah. However, not going out of control.
Yes.
And just being like, realistically, this amount of money is enough for me for a month.
Yes.
So if I'm earning more money, fine, I can just keep that money. Alhamdulillah.
SubhanAllah. It's funny you say that. I remember I was working with a colleague and he was telling me about how some of his mates who work in like city, they make ridiculous money, very, very good money. And I was like, right, like, imagine making that much money. I was calculating how much that means per month and all that kind of stuff. He was like, oh yeah, but all of them are still broke.
Yeah.
I'm like, how? In my mind, I'm thinking how? But then he was explaining to me exactly what you're saying. It's like lifestyle inflation. Yeah. So as you make more money, you start to think you want to travel to a few more places. You might start ordering a bit more because like, it's not that big of a deal. You might start renting out and maybe even buying places that are very expensive because now you feel like you have the money to do so. But you doing all of these things reduces that money that you've accumulated, that increase in money that you have. Yeah. But I think what you said,
it's that concept of chasing the dunya. Like, and it's like subhanallah, like it will never satisfy you. There's a hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam where he mentioned something along the lines of like, if the son of Adam was given a valley of gold, he would just want another one and then another one. Like, and then he says, subhanallah, he actually says at the end of the hadith, he says, and the only thing that will satisfy his mouth is the dirt, is when he dies. SubhanAllah. It's so true though.
Yeah, it's very true.
It's like people were living maybe in a 1-bedroom flat and they were happy.
Yeah.
And then they keep growing, they want more space, and then now they want a garden, and then now they want a shed, and then now they want more space. Now they want 2 houses for when they travel to this country. It never ends.
Yeah.
It just goes on and on and on.
SubhanAllah.
And it's like the only time they were truly satisfied is when the dirt ends their mouth. Are you happy now?
Yeah.
So like it links to what we're saying. It's like this lifestyle inflation. It's like kind of control it.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with it increasing like your quality of life, But just like this is what I think the main issue I have is the going into luxury.
Yes.
You understand? I and there's nothing wrong with it necessarily, but you just have to. It's murky water.
Yeah, be
you have
mindful.
to tread carefully.
Very.
You have to tread carefully and think. Okay, I'm spending, 15 grand on rent. It's like, whoa, like, okay. And then I'm spending this much money on a private chef, and then this much, and then it's like, whoa, you can make big differences in the world with this money. You know?
I was about to, such a good point, bro. So it's funny because I think that all the time where, and it doesn't come from a place of, how do I explain it? Like, not jealousy. It doesn't come from that place, or it doesn't come from a place of like criticizing that person. But I do think to myself sometimes, like you said, it's like, imagine how much change you can make in this world for the Muslim community. And I'm not saying that, in a way, actually, no, I am saying this. I think there is a burden that is put upon you when you start to when you're blessed and Allah's giving you this opportunity to have that much wealth, where you need to start thinking about, how can I use this wealth to do good? I think there is, it might be unfair of me to say it, maybe, but I do feel as though when you start getting to those numbers that we're talking about here, where you're able to spend 15 grand on rent, there has to be questions asked around, what am I actually using this money for? And people talk about generational wealth all the time. Oh, and I have generational wealth, and like, I want you to really be thinking about, one, how could you better your lineage? Maybe your lineage down the line, fair enough. But also like the ummah, what are you doing? Are you building the masjid? Are you going in little things that doesn't cost that much? May bless us, but
it's so true. And like this thing about, like the dunya will never satisfy the heart.
Yes.
You understand? One value of gold is not enough. You need a second, you need the third house. It just keeps going on. But what actually satisfies the heart is it's just saying, you know what, whatever I have, whatever amount of wealth you have, a lot or little, as soon as you say Alhamdulillah for it, you understand that this is your rizq from Allah, this is what Allah has written for you, that is what gives satisfaction to the heart. Not chasing more and more and more. So subhanAllah, like it's so like unreal the way, like it's just a mindset thing. As soon as you say, you know what, like I'm satisfied with what I have, that's when you actually have that peace in your heart. Not when you get the second house, the third house, the fourth house. That's not what's going to satisfy your heart.
Such a good
reminds with the ayah, only in the realms of Allah do the hearts find rest and assurance.
Yeah.
This is what this is.
Yes, it's so true. And it kind of goes, it's funny in a way, because you think about like a lot of these rich, wealthy people, a lot of them turn towards philanthropy when they get to that certain level, because there's a realization that people, when they reach the top of the mountain, think about, all of them say the same thing. When they reach the top of the mountain, when it comes to financial, excellence, they all say the exact same things. Like,
didn't make me happy.
Didn't make me happy. It was the journey that made me happy. Yeah. It was getting to this point. But now that I'm here, it's like,
and what's so profound? They find purpose in giving back.
Yes.
You went their whole life. They were like, I want to take. For themselves, they thought this is what's gonna make me happy. It didn't make them happy. What made them happy? Giving back to the people. Whatever money I'm making, it's not just for myself.
It's to benefit
so I can
the people.
Eat better food and etc. It's to benefit your ummah. It's like that's when you're hitting levels.
And do you know as well? Two things as well is that, firstly, if you have this intention in your heart, if you were to die tomorrow, Allah will take you by that intention. If you have that firm intention, imagine having that in your, when you get to the grave and you have that intention set. Taj or Fat was going to do this. He was going to build this masjid. He was going to do this with his money. Firm intention. That's a good way to leave. Another thing I would say as well, like charity and this, what we're talking about ummah, which is massive. I know, and for some people we think, I don't want to create a threshold. It's like, I have to earn millions before I can get to that stage. No, it can start very, very small. And I would even argue that it starts at home. It starts with your family, starts with giving back to your family, helping your family. Then it also starts with your community. And then you build out towards helping other people across the world and things like that. Are you helping your local masjid? Are you giving to your masjid? I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong to be given to like people abroad as opposed to people in your local community. But there is an element of like, let's actually try to help. And it doesn't take a lot. It could be,
a £10 a month.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it could be £10 a month. But if you're doing it consistently, in a year you've given 120. Yeah. It's like.
And never belittle that deed.
I was just about to say,
in front of Allah is such a big thing, especially when it's a consistent deed.
Yes.
And I always think this.
Yeah.
If not me, then who? Who? Because you're a Muslim. You believe in Allah. You believe in the Akhirah. You believe in charity. If you're not going to give, the kafir is not going to give to your masjid. He's not going to come and say, here's £100 for me, here's £1,000 for me to your masjid. He doesn't care. He doesn't even believe in what you believe in. But you as a Muslim, if you're not going to benefit this ummah, if you're not going to spend your wealth and give your time and energy trying to make this money and give back to your people, then who is? If you're not going to provide for your wife, who is? No one's going to come and say, you know what?
Yeah.
You can enjoy your wife, but I'm going to... No one does this. You have to do it yourself. And then you think, if everyone thought like this, if every single Muslim participated into their community in this way, if everyone gave £10 a month in a masjid, you understand? Or £10 is little.
Yeah.
You understand? If those who make more money, if they were given more, if everyone gave a percentage, a good percentage, not bare minimum, then imagine the sort of moves we can make as an ummah. Like we can regain our honor and our dignity in the world again. The world needs it, bro.
Yeah, subhanAllah. And I think it comes back to like the budgeting thing. Look, if you put aside that money for it, you know, I think we were speaking about budgeting more so on the side of reducing costs. But no, actually, no, budgeting encompasses putting money aside. That's linked to your intention. If you intend that I'm going to put aside £50 a month for my masjid, £10 a month for such and such, you stick by that. And now you've put it in stone as to this how much I'm going to give. You've factored it in, you know, so it's not a surprise when it comes to the end of the month. You know, and this is the thing that I find beautiful about budgeting as well. It's like, you know how much money is coming in, how much money is out, how much is disposal, how much is yours after all bills are paid. And now you can move and play with your money. You can manage your money. I don't want people to feel as though when in this whole paycheck to paycheck mindset, it's like it comes in, whatever. It's just whatever. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think you should be very, very aware of your finances in the sense of, you know, what's coming in, what's coming out, and also what am I going to spend it on in that month. I'm not saying you have to be like this uptight person. I would never say to be stingy. I don't think that's linked to budgeting. I think it's about just being very, very competent and very aware of, okay, I'm going to do this for my money. I'm going to do that for money. Your intentions are a lot more firm, I think.
Yeah, and when you're 100% right. When you have control over your finances, you know what to play with. Do you understand? Like, because like, let's say you ended up saving a couple £100 at the end of the month. Yeah. You now know that you have that couple £100 to give to the masjid. Yes. Whereas if you didn't know what's going on, you're like, oh, can I donate? Can I not donate? It's like, why? Just be on top of your finances, especially as a man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because you're not just providing for yourself. You're most likely going to be providing for
you have responsibility. Yeah. And it's hard. Like, you know, there's a lot of bills that come at you in this day and age. You know, there's a lot of things to think about. And so if you're prepared, that's half the battle done, you know. But I guess coming back to the whole major topic around managing money. So now we've spoken about like the budgeting aspect of things. You know, I think another element of it does come back to like, now how do you use it for more of attacking moves? Because I think budgeting in itself and saving, more defensive, you know, more short-term things, you know, in a sense. But if you're looking more long-term with investing, you know, there's different ways you can go about this. Because I actually would say there's one that's a little bit, that people don't really take into account, like investing in your knowledge. So I would say, if you're someone, and let's say you're very, let's say you want to be like a student of knowledge, I would argue investments in itself, when it comes to buying the books, paying for the Arabic lessons and things like that.
Oh, I was about to say, clarify what you mean by student knowledge.
So yes. So student knowledge is someone who's seeking to learn as much as possible about the deen that they've submitted to. And that covers things like this.
You get some mad definition.
Is it? Oh, what were you thinking?
Like, you gave a proper definition.
What were you thinking?
I was going to say, like, seeking Islamic knowledge. This guy said, like, bang, 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 to the deen he submitted to. I'm like, rah. This guy gave, like, a proper definition. Someone should write that in ink of gold. But I just feel like, seeking Islamic... Because you just said student knowledge. Of what knowledge?
I thought I said something wrong. That's why I was like, oh.
No, it was perfect.
This guy was like, oh, yeah, seeking Islamic knowledge.
Yeah. I was just thinking bare basic.
Yeah, that's funny, man. Investing into your... That's investment. Increasing your knowledge. You know, that might have caught some people off guard. We can get into the other stuff, but I think that's a major thing. You know,
I've had a lot of conversations with students of knowledge.
Yes.
And may I bless them. It's unfortunate because, like, every student of knowledge knows this. They're like, I wish I didn't have to work.
Yeah.
You understand? All of them just wants to give their time to the deen. I remember having this problem myself, where like I was gonna go abroad to study, but then I was like, but what about what about my family? What about my future? So you have to find that balance.
Yes.
You understand? And you know, like you mentioned, like if you can save a certain amount of money, then you have that freedom to actually seek knowledge.
Yes.
Then you have the freedom to maybe even quit your job and just say, okay, I want to seek knowledge for the next 3 years. I've saved up a good amount of money and I could just seek knowledge. Or you seek knowledge part-time while working. You know, that's a good idea.
Yes.
But the point is, like, if you have all these dreams within the deen, you want to serve Allah's religion, you want to learn, you want to teach, you want to benefit, but you don't have the means for it. So it comes to, again, like, unfortunately, whether you like it or not, you need money. Like, you need to survive.
Yeah, you do.
Allah says, don't forget your portion of the dunya.
SubhanAllah. It's such a good point. I think as well, like I was saying, a lot of people fail to realize that, investing is not just to do with, like, the stock market and things like that. It's actually to do with knowledge. You know, it could be invested in a book. It could be invested in maybe taking up a course, you know, Islamic course in this case, or even any other thing, dunya specific as well. It can be as well. You know, these things are good, not like good things that can boost you. I would even argue even investing into going on holiday. I think that's such an important part of life. Traveling, looking around the world, meeting new people, meeting new cultures. I think that's so important. The social capital, they say, you know, you get from that, having conversation with people where you come back home or wherever it may be, and you can tell, I went to wherever country, I met this people. It makes you a lot more interesting. So I think those two things, when it comes to investing, knowledge and also experiences, I think that's very important. And it comes back to just not allowing money to stay in your hand and being so scared to use that money. No, once you have the money, spend it. You know, don't be stingy in that sense. I would say.
You know, there's nothing I hate more than the trait of being stingy.
Yes.
It's just, I don't know what it is. I just hate it.
Yeah.
But there's just something inherently wrong about being stingy.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
But I don't know. For me, it's like you're gonna lose the money either way. Do you understand? Especially when people are stingy when it comes to charity. It's like that money is not yours. It's just with you now. It's gonna leave eventually. You understand? But what are you gonna spend it on?
Yes.
Like, let it go.
Yeah,
it comes and goes.
Yeah.
Money. Everyone says money comes and goes.
Yes.
It's gonna go.
Yes.
Stop holding on to it. Let it go.
Yeah. And
Allah will provide.
Yeah. And when we're talking about stingy, we're talking about people who have it and they don't want to give it, in a sense.
Oh yeah.
So 'cause I think like
I see people already.
Oh yeah.
I can already see it.
This guy had like a flash in the forward.
Yeah, like man was getting like.
So yeah.
Yeah, obviously we're talking about people who have wealth.
Yes.
Who are purposefully holding their money.
Yes.
I'm not talking about poor miskeen.
Yes.
10-year-old boy. No.
Yeah, that's different. If you're strange, that's your last £10 to pay for your meal for the the month, for the week, whatever. Then yeah, fair
It's
enough.
frustrating that we even have to clarify.
Yeah, I know.
What
But
dunya do I live in?
it's a prison.
It's actually a prison.
But what was I saying before? Oh yeah, so yeah, the other stuff as well when it comes to like investing. So now we can talk about more of the fun stuff. So around investing in, you know, people you hear it online all the time around, oh, put your money in the S&P 500, you know, guaranteed returns over the last 20 years.
Become a millionaire.
It's not even listening to the same content, and the people watching have probably seen the exact same stuff as well.
Yeah.
But the first thing I would say as a Muslim, you're not allowed to. It's haram to invest in the S&P 500, and I would even argue, if I had to give a little bit more context, the S&P 500 is an index. Yeah. You know, it has.
It wasn't index. This is gonna get mad.
Yeah, it's gonna get mad detail.
Basically, it's a stock that bunches a bunch of stocks
together in one,
and there's stocks in it which are haram to invest in.
Exactly.
Because they're haram businesses.
Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah.
It's like tobacco, alcohol firms. So we can't invest in these things. There are alternatives and you can search them online. But yeah, going into nitty, I think as Muslims we should invest. I think it's something that we should look to do.
Yeah.
For long term, you know, accumulation of wealth.
I'd say so. It's a smart move.
It's a smart move.
You understand? And I can only see the other side of it, where it's like you might die tomorrow.
Yes.
You know, how can you, etc. But it's like you don't assume, like you do assume you can die tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you assume that you could also live.
Yes.
So it's good to plan for your future.
Yes.
Because if we actually thought we were gonna die tomorrow, you understand? You wouldn't be living your life the way it was. So assume, so there has to definitely be that balance.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yes, you could die tomorrow, but also prepare for your future.
You know, nothing I would say as well, like, even investing in infrastructure, this is something that people don't speak about enough, where it's like, you know, you look at things back home, you think, oh, you know, things are struggling. You could actually invest in the infrastructure of wherever country you're from, you know, maybe an Islamic Muslim country, you know, you could help invest into the building of, like, hospitals and things like that, you know, and that might not give you a return per se, you know, say maybe a stock would, but it's still beneficial investment. You know, you're helping a Muslim country. You invest in, for instance, in building masjids. These things I'll class them as investments, you know, long-term investments that yield results, not in this dunya, but probably inshallah in the akhirah.
Yeah.
You know, I think people fail to realize that as well.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that. And there's nothing that infuriates me more than, I don't know if I should say this. It's an controversial one.
Oh gosh.
For God's sake.
What is it? I'm curious. But yeah, we'll cut it out if anything.
No, it's not even that deep, but I just know like
what's in the come.
Kickback.
Here it comes.
Basically, I have a problem with Muslims coming like to Western countries and spending their wealth here, investing in properties here and businesses here and all this stuff. They're spending all their wealth and building up like this kafir country. Like, bro, if you've got wealth, like, Allah Mubarak, go spend it in your home. Build hospitals, build schools, build masajid, build things that are actually going to benefit your home. Build businesses. Do Do you understand? Building whatever it is, libraries, everything.
Yeah.
You can do this for your hometown. You know, like, why are Muslims always running to the West? Because our countries are finished. Why? Because let me not cuss them.
Yes.
But all these Muslims are investing into these Kafir countries. Of course, Muslims are going to go there. That's where all the opportunity is. Why don't you go back home and build opportunities there and build your country and build communities? And maybe one day we'll compete with the West. But we'll never will, because all our trained doctors, businessmen, all these people, they all come to the UK and benefit this country. And they abuse us, bro. And do they respect you back? Do they let you play your adhan out loud? No. They're violating you. Like, you're a slave. You're actually a slave to this country. And why? Because they pay more. And that bugs me. That bugs me. And this is a message back home as well.
Yeah.
It's like these people, they don't look after the people that can actually invest into that country. They don't. You know, in this country, it makes sense. You come here, you invest, you make a lot of money.
Yes.
There's that incentive. Back home, you invest, you don't get looked after. If you're a doctor back home, they don't care about you, they underpay you, this, that. It's like, but I think it's not about just pointing fingers. The leadership in that country is bad, and the Muslims in our community don't help us, and the youth is not motivated. And no, bro, everyone do your part. I swear, if they do, if everyone does their part,
yes,
you understand. Like, as Muslims, bro, if we all go back home, burn this country, bro. Well, what am I doing in this country, bro? It's not my land.
Yeah,
I swear they don't respect us.
Yeah.
So go back home, build back home, and maybe one day compete, bro. Come back and make a move.
I think sorry. Yeah, go for it.
This is what Islam once was, bro. Our lands were where people came to seek safety and opportunity and wisdom and knowledge and scientific knowledge, Islamic knowledge, everything. It was in our lands.
SubhanAllah. I mean, you know, it's funny as well. Is like when you think about it as well, when like a lot of immigrants built this Western world. You know, and we can list off all the different immigrants and where they've come from, but the reality is, and what I'm trying to get across is that, look, as Muslims, we're talented, we're very, very smart people, and unlike some Westerners, we actually have morals and we actually have discipline in certain aspects, and we have Allah on our side. So I think it's so important for us to really try to work together here, to try to figure out a way. And it's not about figuring out a way, we know how to do it. You know, it's about giving money back home and trying to support that building of infrastructure back home, because like you said, if we can make home a safe haven again, yeah, it incentivizes not just us to go back home, but for the next generation. Think about the youngsters who are seeing the propaganda, I would say, but the stuff that they see around, you know, non-Muslim land, Muslim lands, about how it's, you know, it's less than the West is the best. You can't go nowhere else. You know, if you live anywhere but the West, you're in some form of poverty or whatever. Which is not true. Imagine they're seeing this. So we need to change that whole narrative around what back home actually is. Yeah. You know, and for the people who are back home, wherever back home may be for anyone, I would say, look, don't look at the West with these rosy glasses, you know, as, oh, it's perfect, it's the land of the free, and trust me, it is not. And I'm not trying to diminish the blessings that we have in the West, because we definitely do. There's no doubt about that. But don't underplay the blessings that you have living in a Muslim country or wherever back home is.
Yeah, very, very true. Damn, I had a point, but I forgot now. It was a good one as well.
The gems. It's sad because, you know, back in the day when we used to forget things, we just forget it. But now it's like we forget a gem. It's like,
what was you just speaking about before the youth?
Community and going back home, investing back home.
What I was gonna say. You know what's a good example of a country that's actually kind of done it? It's Dubai. Non-Muslims are going to Dubai for opportunity. That shows that, you know what, they actually done a good job. And it's a Muslim majority country, and there is Islamic values there. You see it. You understand? It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And like other countries need to start picking this up, and we need to start building it. Do you understand? It's possible. We're starting to see it with Dubai. Like a lot of Muslims are going there now. They're enjoying that sort of. It's like it's people say it's like the West. It's Islamic. It's not like the West. It's just a successful Islamic country. They're starting to pick it up really well. And if we have more of that, imagine, bro, let's go.
I mean, you know, it's interesting that you say that. Now we're going off topic, but I'm all for it. Like, if you look at even Saudi Arabia and what they're doing, like, they have this whole thing, the Neom project, where they're trying to really shift away. Because obviously, I understand that oil is the main where the money comes from for their part, isn't it? They're starting to shift towards really investing in infrastructure. Some of the things they're trying to build is ridiculous. Remember we were talking about the line?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're building these things. They're trying to do all these other things, whatever, to build up that area. Of course, there's some people may be watching and think, oh, well, you know, they're doing all these things, but are they looking after the poor? What about the people? You know, there is a fair argument there as well. But I think that if you take it at the point as, look, they're investing, they're trying to build up an Islamic country, I think there's a lot of merit in it.
100%.
And I think that's something we should...
We need to get together. Everyone has to do
Yes.
their own part. Like, people in the West, bro, get your bread and go invest back home. You understand? People back home, welcome them. Do you understand? Stop making it difficult for these people. You understand?
It's so true.
It's like, if everyone... I don't know fully what the solution is. Islam is the solution.
Yes.
But how we actually do it practically is something we can look into.
Yeah.
And
I think the best thing about Islam, though, is that it's not a religion for one set of people. So that in the sense that so many different people with so many different walks of life and so many different experiences and knowledge can come together and help. And I think for some people who are like reverts, and let's say back home is not necessarily an Islamic country, that's fine. And I think we need to be very welcoming of the people who are not necessarily from that country, but also want to come back and give back and help, you know?
Wow, that's a good point. Like, that's a good point. That's very true. Just think of like a British revert.
Yeah.
Can you tell him?
Go and live
Can't tell him to go back home.
Yeah.
But I would still recommend them to do hijrah.
Yes.
I still would. So it applies to them as well.
Yes, 100%.
Hijrah meaning that they go back to a Muslim country.
country.
And by the way, when I said back home, like, I'm assuming Muslim countries.
Yes.
So like, if I said back home and it's a Kafir country, I'm not talking about that. You understand?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because even like for me, I'm from St. Lucia, so it's like that's not really what our class is back home as a Muslim, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting though. It's an interesting discussion around reverts and you know that sort of acclimatizing into a whole different country that's completely different to anything that's part of you. If that makes sense.
Because not only is it a religious difference now, it's a cultural difference.
SubhanAllah. It's a good point. Yeah, it's a very good point. But yeah, I think going back to the topic, I actually enjoyed that. But yeah, going back to like the investing thing, I think what we're trying to get across is like, don't see your wealth and see money as this bad thing. It actually can be a tool for good, you know. And if you use your money wisely, if you look and you strive towards increasing your wealth, increasing your money, you can be such a beneficial member of this community, of this ummah, in a sense of charity, sadaqah, investing in masjids across the world and doing all these different things in your community as well. So I'd definitely say don't shy away from it. I think the whole mindset of investing is think not just about accumulating returns, but it's also thinking about money as a tool for you to use and also using money in a way that benefits. And you can think about benefiting yourself through more returns, but also benefiting your community and your people.
Yeah. Basically, summing up what you said.
Yes.
You're talking about the difference between investing in dunya and akhirah.
SubhanAllah.
That's what it is.
Yes.
So invest in your akhirah as well. Use your wealth to invest in your hereafter.
Yes.
You understand? Like there's like like the very famous example of building a well.
Mm.
And how everyone who drinks from that is a sadaqah jariyah for you. So it's that's investing into your akhirah. But could you do that without money? No. You know, you even look at some examples of the companions that they don't like. May not be pleased with them all, but it's like some of them are very, very wealthy.
Yes.
Like very wealthy.
Very.
and then you see how they spend in the cause of Allah. It's amazing.
Yes.
You think like, wow, like they actually gave all their money, and that's it. That's the sort of people we need to be looking up to. It's like they had money. They were very successful businessmen. They had the trade on lock.
Yes.
But every penny they got, they just gave it.
Yeah. SubhanAllah.
That's it.
Yeah.
They didn't ever say, yeah, I want to make money for myself.
It's always for the people.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah. But I think when you start to really internalize that money is like a blessing from Allah, you know, who are you to like keep this blessing? You share the blessing. You know, you want to kind of, and it's a good feeling as well. And maybe it's a side of things that people don't speak about. But when you do give and you do help people, there's a warm feeling that you feel inside. And there's nothing wrong with that feeling. I think that's good. You should feel that. Yeah, you know, and I think that's a lot better than you going to buy this and buy that. You know, and we're not trying to say that, you know, you should never ever spend. Of course you should. You know, if you're working hard for your money and, you know, you're grinding entrepreneurship at 9 to 5, whatever it may be, yeah, I would say you deserve it. You know, I'm not saying you're like a robot. Of course you have desires. Of course you have things to do. But yeah, think about giving back as well. Yeah. You know, think about it. I definitely say it's important.
Anything else you want to mention about managing money?
I think for managing money, I think that's enough. I think when it comes to managing money, it's just about having the right mindset. I think if I have to say anything, it's about having the right mindset. Be vigilant of your money. Be actually conscious of what you're doing with your money, and like really strive towards finding a system and a process as to how you can bucket things in the right way. I think that's what I would say. If you want, we can do another video, a separate video as to the ins and outs, building out a proper system as to how to, you know, budget, manage your money and stuff like that. Some good things that we could probably say there. But I think for this, I think that's probably enough. Yeah.
You know, another thing I want to touch on, because it's on this issue of money,
Talk to me.
is interest and riba is obviously widespread. Like everyone is being affected by it somehow. And as a Muslim, just staying away from it as much as you can.
Yes.
As much as you can. Like, you know, like for example, having a credit card.
Talk to me.
It seems like there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Really, credit cards are not allowed.
Yeah.
You can't have it. You understand? Because obviously it's a riba contract. Or for example, you know, again, a controversial one, buying a house.
Yes.
Unfortunately, you see a lot of Muslims buying houses on mortgage. And the problem is, not only is it haram and is it riba, you know, and Allah mentions how, you know, you're going to war against Allah and His Messenger.
Scary.
It's scary, but there's also another problem where you share it and you expose it and you normalize getting a mortgage. Because I've had conversations with people where it's like, I'm like, they would say, you know, they're gonna mortgage a house, and I'm like that's haram. And they'll be like, yeah, but every Muslim does it, and I'm just like, yeah, but I just said it's haram, and you said everyone does it. Like, how does that justify it now? You understand? So I just wanted to put it out there. It's like, know that mortgage is 100% haram. 100% haram. Like, don't, and you know it is all. Them man that try to justify it. Like, I'm sorry, like, don't try to justify it, bro. Like, you understand? And this applies to a lot of things, like buying a car on finance.
Yes.
I think a lot of people just fall into it. They don't actually look back and say, wait, what am I doing? Like, this is riba.
This is riba, yeah.
You understand? Like, so just be very wary of how you're spending your money, where your money's coming and going.
Yes.
You understand?
SubhanAllah, it's such a good topic that I think we could definitely dive into, because, like you said, riba is very pervasive right now.
Everywhere.
It's everywhere. And, you know, the Prophet, peace be upon him, he did make it very clear that there will be a time where, you know, you can't even run away from it. It's everywhere, you know? And I think for me, it's, you know, I'll be honest, I remember I was doing the whole credit card thing. I didn't see anything wrong with it. You know, and I mean, we spoke about it and went through it, and then I was like, yeah, you're right. Finished. Yeah, cool. Yeah, you're right. It makes sense. The logic makes sense. The reasoning makes sense. Yeah, this is true. Yeah. It's still it's a contract, a riba contract, regardless of if you're not. Because some people would say what I said to you at the time, which was, you know, well, if I'm not, you only incur the interest when you don't pay. Yeah. But no, at the end of the day, it's still a contract that you've signed up to. That yes, if you don't pay, you're gonna pay interest. So it's wrong. Haram. Without that.
Also, again, like, for whatever reason, what if you can't pay it? Like, yes, you have a certain amount of money incoming, but what if you can't, for whatever reason?
Yeah.
And anything can happen.
Yeah.
An earthquake can happen. And it's happened.
Yeah.
Where people lose all their wealth in like 30 minutes. So it's like, how can you throw, you know, your akhirah into risk like that? For what? A credit card? Are we playing with Allah's religion like that? You know? And it's like, you know, I hear this thing where like, people say, yeah, I'm trying to build my credit score. And I'm like, for what? Yeah, to buy a house on mortgage. And I'm like, yeah, but that's a riba as well. Like, so the benefits you get from that is haram anyway.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Obviously, there's some other halal benefits. I know that, but
I think it's interesting. I think there's no excuse for mortgages in this time, for multiple reasons.
That's very good.
I think that there's so many different options and alternatives as to how you can go about things the right way.
Yes.
And I think when people say this, to make the argument of, there's no other way, how else am I supposed to live? I mean, well, let's keep it 100% here. You can rent. That's an option. You know, and some people may throw the argument, well, I don't want to rent for the rest of my life. It's not stable, and, you know, the landlord can increase the rent. And
you know what you're saying? No problem.
Yeah.
Go to war with the Allah and His Messenger. See how that goes.
Yeah, it's true. It's actually, such a good point. But another thing I'll throw into the mix as well is, like, there are a lot of Islamic alternatives to mortgages, you know, and a lot of them are Sharia compliant. And I've done my research into it, and I would urge you to do your research as well, because everyone has a different appetite, and maybe they, you know, different things, whatever.
Basically, what it is ignorance.
Yes.
When you don't know, you fall into like things that are haram. But once you understand that there are alternatives, there are halal alternatives to having shelter. That's what it really is anyway. If you want to own a home, there's other ways to own a home.
Yes.
You understand? And you're gone.
I was gonna say, even if the car as well, like, you don't have to get interest bearing, you know, contract when it comes to financing a car. You could lease your car. If you're someone who really wants a certain car, you can lease it, and that doesn't involve interest, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, actually, wait, let me correct that. Because technically, when you get a car on finance, that is leasing. But there are no interest bearing leasing contracts. Yeah. So there are options. Don't fall into it where you think, there's no other way. Don't
think I can't drive unless I get a finance contract.
Yeah, there's other ways. Or buy a cheaper car that you can afford in one go and buy it out.
Yeah. 2 things I want to mention.
Talk to me.
is you think that by disobeying Allah and getting, you know, a riba, getting into a riba contract to gain wealth, to gain a property, to do this, and always understand that Allah is the provider. If again it comes to this point of if you was meant to have your own house, Allah's gonna give it to you in a way which was halal for you anyway. It's an issue of like tawakkul.
Yes.
That's what I think it is. If you really trusted Allah and said, you know what, I'm not gonna do a riba contract. I'm gonna trust that Allah will somehow have shelter for me.
Yes.
Because shelter is rizq.
Yes.
Once you have that, you don't have to go through all these other means.
SubhanAllah.
Because then you justify anything. If you justify riba, you justify anything. You might as well sell drugs. You might as well do prostitution.
Stop praying your salah.
Yeah, whatever it is. I need to get a house. No. You understand? So don't fall into this trap of disobeying Allah to try and get something when, you understand, whatever was right for you is gonna come to you anyway.
Yeah.
The second thing I wanted to mention, I forgot. I'm terrible.
No, but I think what you said is such a good point. You know, and you said it earlier, yeah? And I think it's a good point around Muslims. You have a responsibility not to push this into the community. You know, like, don't make this normal for people.
Yeah, stop giving fatwas.
Yeah.
Like, technically we just gave a fatwa. But
no,
it's like, stop giving wrong fatwas.
Yes.
Or in general, don't give fatwas if you haven't studied it. You understand? Like, you don't know what's what.
And I was gonna say to that, it's like, even if you are someone, which you shouldn't be anyway, but like, if you get a mortgage, don't just start saying, oh yeah, I got a mortgage, and oh yeah, whatever. You know, you're spreading this into the youth who are saying, oh yeah, cool, this is the next step. You know, once I move out, I have to buy a house. No, like, there's other ways about going about things, and we have to be very careful of what we're pushing into the community, you know, on purpose or accidentally.
Yeah, one advice I'll give in general, and this is something I learned and I actually practice, is like, if you can't afford something, then don't buy it. Like, don't try to overburden yourself trying to buy a certain car or even like a certain item or certain types of clothes. If you can't afford it and it's going to put you in debt, then don't even go into it. Understand? If you have the money right now to buy it, then buy it. But even debt in general is not good. Like, even though there's nothing wrong with it, in general, it's just something to stay away from. It's going to cause you a headache later on.
And some people actually unknowingly buy things that they don't know they can afford or can't afford. And that's why we were saying about budgeting, knowing how much money you have in your hand, knowing how much money you have disposable for you at the end of the month. So you know, actually, this is not really a smart purchase. I only have disposable income of £500. I'm not going to buy something that costs £400 when I haven't put food on the table yet. You know what I mean? So I think it's such a good point, and I think a lot of people may look at this and think, oh yeah, of course, brother, this is easy, simple advice. But no, some people need to hear this. You know, some people don't understand the value of money, the importance of money, how you have to treat it with a certain level of respect. You know, it doesn't come easy, and it can go easy depending on who you are. But I think you have to be very wise with your money as to where you're spending it. You know, I mean, it's about growing up, isn't it? It's about maturing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It's part of it.
Yeah, it's funny when you're younger. You know, you think when you get older, you have to buy all the things. You know, all the things that your parents maybe didn't buy you. Then you grow up and you realize there's a reason why they didn't. SubhanAllah.
Yeah, that's so true.
But I don't think there's, you know, this topic, there's probably going to be more things we speak about, you know, going down the line. If there's anything you feel as though we've missed, please let us know in the comments, because, you know, we're more than happy to make a follow-up, a part 2, and really dive deeper into this topic at a later date. But I think for today, I think that's more than enough. I think they've had over an hour worth of content.
Yeah.
Let the people rest.
Yeah, because this is such a broad topic.
Yeah.
And we kind of wanted to keep it broad on purpose. But yeah, if there's...
You know, I was going to say that, inshallah, you know, moving down the line in the channel, we're going to dive into some of these things. You know, we're going to talk about other streams of income. We're going to speak about these things and, you know, maybe a how-to budget series. Who knows? I don't know. But, you know, we'll definitely dive into the topics that we've spoken about at a high level.
Inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah.
Inshallah, yeah, we'll end it there, inshallah. Important disclaimer, as always, anything incorrect in which we have said is from us and Shaytan, and both Allah and His Messenger are both free from it. Jazakallah khair for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.